Welcome to Love and Friendship. We have Sarah Brett for love, Joe Ag for friendship. They can swing both ways, of course. And I'm your host, Michael Coram. We are discussing the story of Abraham. And hopefully, Abraham is supposed to bring blessings to all families on earth. Everybody. Hopefully, in sharing the show with us, it will bring blessings in all of our lives. To quickly review, maybe I should quiz you, Joe.
Yeah.
Okay, so
You giving grades?
yes,
Okay. Credits.
what, Sarah, you can help. What are the first words Abram hears from God?
First words.
Sarah would like these words. The first words were in Hebrew, Lech Lecha, you go, or go you, to the land I'll let you see. Like you're a big adventurer, like both of you. And I will make a great name for you. I will make you a great nation, meaning you can have a huge number of people who are you're connected with. I will bless you. Boo. And be a blessing. Wherever you go, you're like that. Just spreading fruitfulness to people. You're like that too, Joe. And then it says, through you, all communities on earth will be blessed. All families will be blessed. You're just radiating
The whole world.
to everyone you meet. You're radiating that, what Joe might say, divine energy that in some ways all trees and flowers and even rivers and stones, it's this, all of matter is made of energy. And you're radiating that energy wherever you go. Yum.
That's great.
So that's what he hears. Next question, what was going on in his youth before he heard this that opened him up to hear this?
Didn't his father die and he wasn't able to be with him? I think some people in the genealogy had died.
That's what his brother died in front of his father.
Yeah.
Maybe his father killed him. It was one possibility. His brother named his daughters Queen and C, and women were not given names. Women were too frightening after Mother Earth almost drowned everybody. So if you've been frightened of anybody, is there a woman, psychic, is there a frightening woman in your life? Is there a frightening... Anyway, Abraham, so they didn't give women names. His brother, who gave his daughters names, C and Queen, died right in front of his father. And then he married, who did Abram marry?
Sarai,
And she was...
his half-sister.
Right, we don't even know that
Nope.
yet. This is like, but you're right. This is like a murder mystery.
But she's barren.
And she's barren. They blame her. So there's all of these. Then his father takes off to go to Canaan, maybe to avoid being prosecuted for killing his son. Doesn't go there. And then Abram hears the call. Then he goes, so he calls, and he's led. Here's a question. It says, go to the land I will show you. How does he know to go to Canaan? To the Middle East? How?
Always wondered that.
How would you know, Sarah? Where to go? Because you're a traveler. You wanted to go to New Zealand, Canada. How do you know where to go?
Can I guess?
Yes.
I would say, like, in my example, like just going about doing your own business, doing your normal routine and your normal business. It seems like Abraham was very wealthy and he had business abroad. So maybe he just decided, I'm gonna do my business as usual, and I'm gonna trust that if he told me to go to this place, he's gonna show me.
Wow. Right. It might be intuitively. You
Yeah.
wouldn't understand this.
Yeah.
This feels right. Have we ever felt that?
Yeah.
When I came to Cambridge, I walked from Brookline to Cambridge, came to almost to the place where I'm living now,
Wow.
and then about a few years later, I walked into a room where someone was having a breakfast after Yom Kippur, with a sack of potatoes over my shoulder, and I said to Muriel Heiberger, which is really bizarre, "I'm going to live here someday." And I've lived there from 1984 to now.
Wow.
Wow.
You
So-
just know.
I knew. So there's hope. Where we'll end up. You wanted. So he knew it was Canaan. He comes to Canaan and says he sees this voice that was just talking to him. What is that?
Right. How do you see a voice?
Well, he came to this beautiful oak tree. And my guess is the oak tree is divine. You can just feel. Have you ever felt some part of nature is just amazing?
Yep.
Yes? Any examples?
Just trees.
Any particular one?
I like birch trees a lot.
And any specific one that you've had a relationship with?
I'm gonna say I like going to the Arnold Arboretum.
Oh, and seeing.
So I would say going there and seeing trees from different parts of the world.
Yes.
And just how everything's in it's like, the United Nations of trees, right?
I love hugging my tree in the park across from where I live. You're invited. I'm having a creative Labor Day party
Oh yeah.
from 2 to 6 on Labor
Nice.
Day. Please come. And I hug it. And I do exercises on it so I don't look too strange to my neighbor. So maybe, well, your question's a hard one, Joe. Can the voice we feel inside, like you have a voice, Sarah, that talks to you and says, Sarah, or not?
I do.
No, you do? Is it a nice voice?
I'm gonna say an impatient one.
Oh, an impatient one. Like your mother?
It's more. It's not my mother.
Oh, good.
It's a voice of, dreams. The voice of dreams, but it's like, come on, there's no plan in place, but
So what would be
it's
an
sort of a
example?
should've-
What would be an impatient example?
just basically the voice would say, okay, quit your job and go travel.
Oh, you tried that.
I know,
You
I know.
did.
And then I had some reason come back. It's
So you're
not the
just
voice
like
of reason.
Abram. You were
Yeah.
just, except you didn't do it. Wow. So how does that feel?
You still hear the voice. You have to do it, and then the voice will.
The voice is still telling you to go to New Zealand?
Yeah, the voice is still telling me to go travel.
Oh,
for a
but
bit.
not necessarily.
A little New Zealand, like that area.
Wow. Because that's a great prime minister there, a woman.
They do have a great prime minister
Yes,
there.
that great woman. Like her. Oh, so you know that.
And I had the voice before that told me to go take off and travel. It took me a while to kind of do it, but I did do it once before.
Oh,
about
wow.
16 years ago.
Well, I hope you do, because somehow you're reading this and discussing
Yeah.
this story with us.
I
Just
know.
before I went to Israel, I was contemplating going, and I don't know if you ever seen that video, Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
Just do it. You ever see that video?
Yeah.
And the guy's screaming, just do it,
Wow.
right? And so I was like, you know what? I'll just do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll just do it. And actually, that's sometimes you just gotta, if you know you need to do something, just
Exactly.
I went to Israel with almost no money, $300 that my father gave me for painting the house inside and out. He got a deal, but he paid for the plane ticket and didn't know anybody.
right.
And it was it turned me from an unhappy person to a happy person. I learned to just do it.
Just go.
working on the farm,
Yeah.
Yeah, the
walking,
fresh air and the
hiking with the
fire.
birds.
Yeah.
Almost died, but wow. So he is in supposedly of the promised land, the land he was led to, and there's famine. Life is not easy. What do you think if you're moved to go somewhere? You might know this, and you get there, and there's no nourishment. What do you feel and think?
Challenges. Right. Now we got challenges.
What have I done?
What have I done? Yes, you might doubt this, but you've had an experience that the voice that spoke to you, and this is hard, Joe might be explaining this, is seen maybe in this tree, this amazing oak tree. Somewhat like an arboretum, it's just probably in an oasis. What does that mean? That what you hear, you see. There's a special talent some people have called synesthesia. Have you heard of it?
Mm-mm. No.
Want to explain it to Joe?
I've heard it's like they pick up on in synthesis, like all knowing what that person's thoughts, right?
It could be that, and it could
Okay.
also be when you hear music, you see colors.
Oh, I didn't know it meant that.
Or when you look at colors,
You mean like you're on magic mushrooms or something?
you could say it that way. You hear music. So synesthesia means synthesizing different
Oh, neat.
sense experiences. So I don't know if that helps understand why. Let's say Sarah. Let's not say Sarah hears a voice. Go to New Zealand.
Yeah.
You hear the voice to what?
I heard a voice too. Well, I can tell you I had an Exodus moment when I was in Bible college and I had to go to a drug and alcohol program. I just knew that I needed to. Because I had flunked out of there. I had a lot of trouble. I had actually gotten into a fist fight with a roommate over something small and stupid. I knew I needed help. So it was just an obvious thing. But at the same time, a friend of mine had brought me to this place. And a friend of mine who is now a friend of mine, who was one of my mentors in the program, he was on stage rapping about the Bible. And I thought that was pretty impressive because I says they must allow expression here. They must allow that sort of thing. If this guy is rapping the Bible, you know what I mean? And he was really good. He is really good.
So you were called to go to this place.
I was clearly called to go.
Did you hear a voice call you, or you just feel it?
It was a knowing.
You just knew it.
Yeah.
So I'm still a tiny bit puzzled. Sarah here hears a voice to go to New Zealand. What would it mean? And the voice feels divine, that's special, unique, unending, as Joe would say. It's just awesome. And then you see this, you travel and you see this tree, and you have some of the same feeling of, oh, I'm in the place of something awesome. I can see that tree in a way I've never seen it before, which might have let you know this is the right place. Oh, so that you could get that awesome energy can come through a voice or through nature. Oh, so I understand that. And the voice said, this is the land, and you're going to be fruitful. You, Sarah, and Joe are going to be fruitful here. So I understand that. And then, in the story, this supposedly land you're led to, maybe both of you, is in drought. You've followed it faithfully, this calling, and you get to New Zealand, and nothing. What do you feel and think about that?
Did I just get tricked?
You sound like Sarah now.
Yeah. What's the
betrayed.
deal Yeah.
What do you think, Sarah?
I think, can I trust myself?
Oh my, what would I hear? Well, he did leave and go to Egypt in our story. Maybe there's a possibility that when we know something's the right thing, even if there are obstacles in love, in where you want to live, even when there's with someone you really care about, friend, even when there's obstacles, you know this person is a special person in my life. This place is for me, even if I might have to leave for a while. Maybe. I'm just trying to give Abraham to see him because he's the father of Jews, Christians, and Muslims, at least to find a way to see him in a good light, even though there could be other things. Could be, as you were saying, God, why did you betray me? What kind of promised land is this? This is the promised land. There's no food. Thanks a lot. I wonder what an unpromised land would be for you. So they go to Egypt, and Abram, to protect himself, because he's married to Sarah, says, Sarah, would you say you're my sister? And we went through this last week, and our Sarah here says, that's betrayal. And Joe said, that's a blunder. And we discussed this before the show. I was trying to find a way to see Abram as in a good light. And I think, well, maybe he knew you were so talented with hearing and feeling and expressing some out-of-the-earth beauty that you'd take care of yourself. And he knew that. Gives you away and gets sheep and goats and men servants and maid servants. And, you'll be okay. No one's going to mess with you. And we really aren't married anyway. You're my sister. So that's my at least positive way.
It is very possible.
But there's a plague in Pharaoh's household.
Yeah.
And it could be you're just too much to handle. Because he took you. He didn't ask you. And you're so much to handle. You upset him and everybody. Maybe sexually, maybe not. Or just with your huge sensual powers. Your beauty. And we talked about before the show, somehow Pharaoh finds out that you're married. And we said one possibility is, remember?
Say again.
That she.
How did Pharaoh find out that Sarah was married to Abram?
I think maybe one of the maids or helpers she confided in, and they were sick with the plague. They had nothing to lose, and they said, "You know what? My loyalty's to the Pharaoh. He keeps giving gifts. Why? I'm not getting in trouble. I'm too sick. I'm gonna just I don't know.
Spill it.
Spill the beans."
Yeah.
Well, I love what you said in when we were rehearsing this. You said maybe out of compassion, she told someone, "Hey, I want you to know, I'm probably causing this." So she might have said it just to stop people from that plague,
Yeah.
whether it was sexual disease or psychic disease.
It would have been the right thing to do.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So we can see and Pharaoh gets angry when he finds out, and he says, calls Abram to him and says, "Why didn't you tell me? Why did you lie to me and say she was your sister?"
He technically didn't lie. Technically.
Right, he didn't go there. He said that
Yeah.
next time he did this, he said that.
Yeah.
This time he didn't even say that.
Right.
And so they might not have felt too much. Abram said, "Okay, we're back together." And Pharaoh didn't want to mess with this power that you had. He says, "Take all the gifts I gave you, camels," and then Abram and Sarah go back to Canaan. This time I have so much wealth they don't have to worry. And next event, class quiz. what happens next?
Next, they meet another king.
Eventually, you're
Okay.
just too quick. You're
Okay.
ahead too fast. They're so wealthy. Abram and Lot have too much wealth, and the people that are herding their sheep and goats start fighting with each other.
Right.
And Abram is a good guy. He says to Lot, "Hey, you're my brother," even though Lot was just his nephew. Let's stop this fighting. Look around. You can go anywhere you want, and I'll go the opposite direction.
You
So
go
we'll
your
have
way,
enough
I go
room.
my way.
Now Abram lets Lot choose to live near Sodom. Is that a good uncle or not, or is it none of his business? Or maybe he didn't know.
Well, it seems like
A mentor. Abram was his mentor.
yeah, Abraham was older. He was his uncle, right? It was
Yep,
his-
yep.
yeah. And so, I mean, what kind of place at the time was that area? It was a big city, a lot going on. I'm sure in big cities there's a lot of things that aren't so good. There's probably some violence going on there. If there's it's a huge city and a lot of people. If it had become corrupt, from other places in the Bible it talks about that there was a lot of greed going on. So maybe Lot was just this young guy who he wanted adventure and he wanted to gain some
But
stuff.
what about Uncle Abram? He didn't seem to warn him in any way, or
He probably didn't want to tell him what to do. Maybe he did warn him, but he probably didn't want to tell him, "Hey, don't you go there. I'd rather be at peace with you."
wow, Sarah might give a harsher interpretation.
Okay.
You think he should have spoken?
Yes, absolutely.
It would have been the more friendly thing to do.
The uncle thing to do.
Yeah, the uncle, right? The adult thing to do.
protector.
Yeah.
Unless he knew that his Lot wouldn't listen to him.
But this is interesting because he's not a protector. He's not He didn't protect Sarai.
And then not protecting
And
Lot
Lot
either.
either.
Okay, now the only way, because I think all these things are true, but I want one interpretation
Okay.
that sees him, as the great founder of. So I could see my father did this when I became Catholic. I was born Jewish, but with no religion. And he didn't want me to. He told me, "Why don't you just believe it without doing it?" But he never told me not to. Even though he went into his room and didn't talk to anybody for 7 days. In Judaism, sitting Shiva is when someone dies. So it was so hard for him.
Wow, so he did that for the same as a Shiva.
Yeah.
It's mourning period.
Yes, maybe not in his mind, but he didn't tell me not to. And maybe Abram, because Lot was grown up now, just wanted to let Lot make his way in the world. That's at least one. Sometimes as an aunt, it's time to be quiet. Sometimes. You were a mentor. Did you know this?
Yeah, and when I was in this drug and alcohol program, I had become a mentor, and I was mentored for a couple of years, sometimes very good and sometimes very harshly. So I had a mix of understanding and compassion for people because I had gone through my process, but other times I had reacted rather harshly.
Also, maybe it would have been good to be like Abram and just be quiet and let people make their own mistakes.
I was reprimanded for saying to somebody, "If you want to leave, then go ahead and leave."
Right, so maybe that was too tough a mentor.
It was my way of letting somebody, if they're not going to listen to me, then if you want to leave, I'm not going to make you stay.
Right, yes, I understand. But it might have been, and when you do it again, at times maybe not to say anything.
It depends on the person,
Yes,
I guess.
yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so we at least have a positive way of looking at our ancestor Abe. And then they go, and and then Abram hears his voice again, because he loved Lot. Oh, I had that with my brother. My youngest brother doesn't talk to us. He left for Arizona. Tried to steal our inheritance. Oh my. And the emptiness You might, do you have that with people you've loved in your life and then they leave?
Hmm.
What does that feel like? If you want to say, we only have a minute and a half. Either one of you want to?
I have left
Yeah.
others. I haven't had too much experience of people leaving me, but I have had to. I felt I have had to. It might be too harsh, but I have left my best friend and my ex girlfriend. So I've felt I've had to do that.
And what did that feel like after?
Maybe I felt I was being too harsh, but I said
Did you
maybe
miss them desperately? Or
I do
not?
miss them, but maybe it was for the best of all of us.
Oh. Sarah, we still have a minute.
I have left and I've been left, and I can honestly say they're both incredibly painful. I think there's a lot of guilt that I had with the leaving,
Yeah.
whereas it
Yeah.
maybe wasn't as painful, but the pain was from the guilt, whereas being left and being betrayed, I just had way too much anger. So I think one was guilt and one was anger.
Oh my. So Abram hears a voice that says, take a walk through Israel, Canaan, and the land that you walk through will be yours, and you're going to have offspring that will, in some ways replace the absence of Lot. So his voice seems to come when he feels empty and offer him dreams.
Hmm.
We'll be back in 3 minutes.